Hey guys, how y'all doing? Bioniclesaurus here, and in this video we're gonna be taking a look at... Hold on, there he is. I should really have figures closer to me when I need to go grab them right as I'm about to film an entire video talking about them. It is the Papo Iguanodon today. A figure from last year that nobody likes or wants to hear about. It's got some redeeming qualities. It's got a lot of negatives. We're mostly going to be talking about negatives in this video, I'm afraid. But there is something about it that's attractive to me. I do like it. It was a bit of an impulse buy, I'll admit. I mostly just saw the stock photos and revolted, then saw some in-hand photos and went, oh, that's kind of nice. And then I picked it up. Okay, let's just start off with the pose. The pose looks like trash from just the plain side view. It looks kind of nice from the front, because from the front it actually looks like it's striding forward. Like, this leg looks like it's mid-stride. It looks like it's in some kind of really dynamic walking pose, looking around all alert. But as soon as you turn it to a profile view and you see this sort of defensive posture they were going for, it just falls so flat. It's hard to really pinpoint anything specific about it, but to me, it's clear they were trying to go for a pose where it's being attacked from this side by something, but without a counter figure as a secondary piece to go with it. It just comes across as kind of odd and awkward, and again, it's sort of hard to describe. It's sort of just non-specific awkwardness, but just the whole way it's carrying itself, the way the limbs are placed, people have talked about it. The pose is just not fluid. In terms of colors, I do actually like the colors. I did not like them in the promo pics. The promo pics made this figure look really dull, and there is one thing I don't like about this, is it's glossy, and the promo pics actually made it look like it might be flat. Or matte. It's not. It's got the Papo gloss. And that's unfortunate. They haven't been doing it on every figure lately, but gosh, they've been just doing it a lot for quite a few years now, and I don't like it at all. There's something visually detractive about it to me. May just be personal preference, although I think most people tend to agree. But getting back to the positives of the colors, they're a lot more nuanced and well applied than what we've been getting from Papo lately, and there is a little more interest to them than in the original stock photos. I remember looking at the promo pics and just thinking this thing looks so dull, but in hand, the sort of contrast between warmer colors underneath and cooler colors on top looks pretty nice. The blue striping on the tail is a big pro. It's not even blue-gray, it's straight up, it's kind of grayish, but I'd say it's straight up a shade of blue. And it's nice. I don't remember that standing out at all in the promotional images, but that looks quite aesthetically pleasing in hand. And getting back to the application thing, a lot of figures like the Baryonyx and the Acrocanthosaurus were showing signs of Papo's paint application and production quality really going downhill, in my opinion. But this one is pretty nice. It's got some nice dark brown washing over these lighter tan areas on the underside. Adds a lot more depth. A lot more sort of nuance and weathering to the whole thing. Just improves the realism. Reminds me of what Papo used to be better at doing back in the golden days. I don't know when the Papo golden days were, but they're not now. In terms of detail, it's Papo detail. In a vacuum, isolated from all other figures in existence, it'd be remarkable. But Papo's detail is completely stagnant. It never improves. It did improve over the first couple years of their existence, but once they got the hang of it in 2007 or something, if anything, it's gone downhill on certain figures, and for most it's stayed just, flat. The line graph is inactive. And, again, in a vacuum, it'd be really impressive, but it's so unremarkable in context. It's not a con, but it's not a pro to me either, especially when other companies are doing just as well with sculpted detail. Papo is no longer all that remarkable, in my opinion. In terms of accuracy, they have some interesting things going on with the head. First of all, this isn't really an accuracy thing, but stop giving articulated jaws to animals that had cheeks. Oh my god, it looks terrible. This thing looks like a ventriloquist dummy. It's been compared to a marionette puppet. But getting back to anatomical errors, we have this really rounded nasal chamber. It's not how the skull was shaped. Maybe they're just trying to show purely soft tissue stuff, and if so, interesting, but not evidenced by anything. And it kind of throws off the identifiable iguanodontid shape of the skull, to be honest. It makes it look almost hadrosaur-like. And there's other things that contribute to that. For instance, the fact that the neck goes right into the back of the head. If you look at some more accurate Iguanodon figures that I have here on hand, you can see that it's one of the very few dinosaurs that actually has a neck that goes more into the bottom of the skull. Not quite to the degree of a pachycephalosaur, but it's at a bit more of an angle, rather than going straight into the back, like most dinosaurs. There's also not enough keratin on the beak. The keratin should extend further back, and the minimalistic nature of the beak makes it look almost bill-like, again contributing to a hadrosaur-like appearance. The tail is really stubby. The hands might be the biggest problem. They're pronated, they're tiny, they're just like hadrosaur hands with a thumb spike. This whole thing screams of, like, sculpt an iguanodon from memory. Like, some people have compared it to Aladar from Disney's Dinosaur, and I see the parallels, I do, but I don't know. My theory on this figure is more that they just didn't really reference anything all that specific at all. Getting into size comparisons before we end off the video, here's the Papo Allosaurus as our constant size comparison. As you can see, this figure is pretty large, above 140, I would say, but not quite to the degree of the Collecta version. And my final rating for the Papo 2018 Iguanodon is going to be a 6.5 out of 10. The Acrocanthosaurus that I reviewed from Papo, the original paint job version, got only a 6. Because it had quality control issues with warping and also paint application. This one doesn't have those, but overall, it, much like the Acro, is a prime example of sort of the unremarkable nature of Papo's current quality levels with dinosaur figure production. It encapsulates a lot of their inconsistency, a lot of their mediocrity, and while I personally find some great pros in it and still sort of softly recommend it for sure, it's not a great figure for reasons that I have hopefully made clear. Thank you very much for watching, and Bioniclesaurus signing out.